Namaste and good evening everyone. In this practice tonight, we will be doing a lot of lower back practices. And this practice is especially going to be for those who are experiencing some back issues and most likely lower back issues. So if you are a yogi and you are experiencing some issues with your back, then it might be good to take a look at this practice and see which poses can be done for you in such a way that they're not going to be hurtful. So this practice will be a yin yoga practice. We're going to go a bit deeper into the yoga poses, but at the same time we're going to be comfortable as well. We're going to feel the stretch, and I'm going to try to make sure that you won't feel a lot of back issues at all. Of course, it is your responsibility, whatever you feel. I don't feel per se, so you have to look at how your body is doing at this moment. If at some point you are experiencing more pain than you usually are, just get out of the pose and stop your yoga practice. It's not good to feel any pain during your yoga practice, even with yin yoga. With yin yoga in particular, we do want to feel a big stretch, so it's gonna be uncomfortable but not painful. So with that said, we're going to start this practice, and this practice we're going to be starting in child's pose. And we're going to go in child's pose now. So what we're going to do is we're going to come on hands and knees just for a little second. I'm going to position myself a little bit better. And then you're going to bring your big toes towards each other. Your heels can fall a little bit outwards. And then we're going to go with our hips. And we're going to position ourselves in between our feet. I always do the knees a little bit wider because I just feel it's more practical, and at the same time I have a little bit of a belly, so it's easier for me to breathe as well. And then when you come forward, you can have two options. First of all, you bring your forehead towards the mat, and in here you can decide whether you want to put your hands to the front. But for some people, this might give some tension in the lower back because you're stretching that spine in this position. If you want to relax a bit more, you can bring the hands backwards, and then you won't feel that stretch too much. So it's up to you. We're going to be here for about 5 minutes. So whatever option suits best for you, choose it now. And then we're going to go and close our eyes. And while we are here, we're going to make sure that we keep breathing deeply. So try to feel on every inhale and exhale your belly in between your legs. Maybe if you have your knees a little bit closer, you can even rub that belly a little bit with your legs, giving a little massage to the abdomens and your intestines. Just take your time to focus on your breathing, something that we don't very often do, something that we keep forgetting. We're taking it for granted because it just happens.
But know that you can release a lot of stress, a lot of tension in your body when you're focusing on your breathing. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes again. And very gently, you're gonna bring your chest towards the mat. You're gonna slide in between your hands until your lower belly, well, your belly is completely on the mat. And from here, we're actually gonna go into Sphinx pose. So it's a very easy position to do. Anyway, we're gonna do it 3 minutes. So make sure that the position you're choosing is comfortable enough for you and is not hurting you too much. As said before, a little stretch is fine, but too much can hurt you. So for this position, we place our arms about 90 in a 90-degree angle. And this is actually the ideal position. However, sometimes for some people this might be too much already, and then those people can go a bit forward with their arms and go as far as is possible for you, where you find that nice balance between the pain, well, no pain basically, and still feeling that nice, great stretch. So we're gonna be here for 3 minutes. You can bring your head to the center, close your eyes, and breathe deeply. And this position is great to put a little compression on your lower back, not too much, to release a little bit of tension in there. But what it's also very good for is a little massage of the abdomen, of the belly, which is also a great effect that it has. Very good. And from here, we're going to easily transition into half frog pose. So from here, we're putting our hands on top of each other, and we're going to start with the left side. So we're going to put our right cheek on our hands, and then we're going to put our left leg into a 90-degree angle, more or less. And normally, in any other yoga class, you would normally be doing full frog pose, which is doing this with both legs and then in a bit more upright position. But this is much easier for your lower back. So this is why I would prefer doing 2 minutes on each side rather than doing 5 minutes of full frog pose. And this is actually also a very nice and relaxing position. Not a lot will go on, but you still will feel a little release in your lower back. So once again, you can put your cheek, your right cheek, on your hands, and you can close your eyes and draw the attention inwards of your body, of your soul. Very gently bring our legs back together, and we're going to do the other side. So now we're going to put our left cheek on top of your hands, and we're going to raise the right leg into a 90-degree angle next to your body. So I'm going to turn a little bit away from you guys. I'm really sorry. It's nothing personal, but I will see you again in 2 minutes. We're bringing our legs back together, and now we're gonna put our feet a little bit further than hip width apart from each other. And then, well, you can see already my heels are coming towards my mat. The inside of the foot also reaches the mat as well. And here you can decide again which position you'd like to take, or you can put your forehead on your hands or one of your cheeks, it's all up to you. And this position is generally great just for your entire lower back, because in this position you won't be having any strain or any compression or decompression in the lower back. So if you are having an acute problem, this is one of the exercises you can do to relieve yourself a bit from the pain, if you're in pain, of course. And in general, it's just a very nice and relaxing yoga pose to do. So we're gonna be here for 2 minutes, and I'm gonna put my forehead on the hands for a change. See you guys in 2 minutes. Okay, and you can slowly open your eyes again. And then from this position, we're gonna, well, first of all, we're gonna bring our legs back together. And then we're gonna go back into child's pose. So, like we did before, big toes back together, heels are falling a bit to the outside of your mat. You don't touch the mat. And then you can bring your forehead to the floor again. And we're just gonna be here a couple of seconds just to tone in with our breathing again, just to tone in with our body, see how we're feeling, how we're doing. Maybe you can feel a little difference already from the beginning of the practice. Maybe you can say already like, oh, this is not the yoga session for me. Maybe you say like, my back is hurting me more and more, so I need to back out. So then you can just go all the way to Shavasana at the end of the video. If not, and you want like to continue a bit, we're having a couple more poses, but we're generally halfway there already. And if you've done this, you can bring your hands back, raise yourself. And then from here, you can easily bring your legs to the front. Very gracefully done. Of course, as yogis, we also need to be a bit graceful with ourselves. And actually, in this position, we're going to be about 3 minutes. And this is actually a very great one for your spine, not for just your lower back, but for your entire spine. What we're going to do is we're going to take our index finger, middle finger, and thumb, both of them basically, and we're going to bring them a bit diagonal from our hips, so our thumb pointing to our hips, and the other fingers behind. So we're going to make a straight spine, and we're going to circle our shoulders a little bit, so we're making a little circle, we're opening our shoulders, and we're going to be here for about 3 minutes. And within this position, you're going to feel that we're going to use some muscles that you're not used anymore to feel. So if you have any tension in your back, in your spine, and you feel it's just because you haven't been used to this pose at all, then just focus on your breathing. Close your eyes and focus on your breathing. If you feel it's hurting you, that you feel the gravity is working on your lower spine, then get out of the position and maybe lie a bit on your back. It's all up to you. It's your yoga practice. It's your body. You know your own limits and you know how far you can go. So now we close the eyes, and for another 2 minutes we're going to be here in this position. Alright, and release again. And then from here, we're going to take our feet together. So we're going to do a reclined butterfly. And it's up to you how deep you want to go. We're not going to go forward to make sure that your back doesn't get a decompression, especially with people who are actually having blocked nerves in between the vertebra. It's not so nice to get a decompression of the vertebra. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our hips a little bit closer towards our feet, if you can. If you don't worry. And then from this position, we're just going to slide very gently onto our back. And this is actually more of a hip opener. Okay, maybe I'm going to go a bit more forward. Yeah, that's it. And this one is more of a hip opener, but at the same time, it can also cause a little bit of decompression on the lower spine, but not in such a way that it's gonna hurt you even more, like you would have if you're doing a normal butterfly movement. So we're gonna stay here for another 2 minutes. We're gonna close our eyes and we're gonna draw our attention back inwards. Alright, and from here we're gonna bring our knees slowly together. And now you have to see whatever you can use to lift your hips. If you are having back issues in general, I would say use a pillow. So I'm just gonna take my pillow here. But if today for one reason or another you are feeling more opening in your back, you can also use a block. And I would actually advise you to use a cork block. I don't have one at the moment. I left mine back in Belgium at my home. But this will do as well, as I'm not going to go into the full position. So your two options here, you don't need to buy a block per se. You can also use a pillow instead, especially if you're having serious lower back issues. So assuming that you have, we're gonna raise our hips. We're gonna bring our pillow near our hip, and we're just gonna stay here. If you feel like, oh, I have a bit more opening in my body to lift my hips a bit higher, you can use a block, and we have many sides, well, only 3 basically. So what you can do is put the lowest side, the biggest side, underneath your hips. Well, it's not really your hips, it's more like right above your tailbone, especially with a block. It's going to make a difference. If that's still alright, if you feel a more opening, you can use the side of the block. And again, put it right above your tailbone here. And if you can go even further, I'm not going to do it at the moment, I'm going to show you, but because I don't have a cork block, it's going to be quite harder for me. You can take the biggest side and again, put it right above your tailbone. But as you might be able to see, my block is collapsing under my weight. So I'm going to use the side of the block instead. So take a couple of seconds to find the right position for you. Normally you've tried them by now and you know which one is going to be more comfortable to you. And don't worry if for any reason you're feeling more pain, During your practice, you can always change the position a little bit. And when you're done, you can close your eyes and we're gonna stay here for 2 minutes. Okay, and then slowly lift your hips up. Take your prop, whether it's just a pillow or the block, and put your hips back into the mat. And now we're coming closer to our final positions. So we're gonna bring our knees towards our belly. And it doesn't matter where they'll come. It depends on how your lower back is feeling. So if you're having a lot of pain in general in your life, in your lower back, like maybe this is a position you'll be at, which is perfectly fine. If you have more opening, you can take your knees gently back around your belly. And it's completely up to you. I would really suggest to do it very slowly, very attentive, to make sure that you're not making any wrong movements while you are pulling your knees towards your belly. And then what you also can do is wrap your arms around each other and then bring your head towards your knees. And then we're gonna release. And then for our final position, Shavasana, we're gonna go back completely on our back. Our feet are hip width or a bit more than hip width apart from each other. The back of our hands are on the floor. They're a bit further away from your body, just to give that opening to your shoulders. And then when you're positioned nicely, you can close your eyes and take some deep breaths again. And don't worry, you can completely let go. This is our final position. You don't have to think about anything anymore. You don't have to do anything anymore. These next 5 minutes are just for you and you alone. You can completely relax now, let go of everything. And in about 5 minutes, I'll give you the next instructions again on how to come out of Shavasana. And then slowly bring back movement into your fingers and your toes, in your hands and your feet, in your legs and your arms. And if you want, you can stretch yourself out completely. Do whatever movement you feel is best for you right now. And then before we open our eyes, we're gonna bring ourselves to the right side. Our body comes into, our right side of the body comes into the mat. And from here, we're gonna push ourselves up again into a seated position. When you're seated comfortably again, you can bring your hands toward your chest, both of them together. You can lower your head and then gently open your eyes again and raise your head again. So that's it for this yoga practice. I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to leave a comment to leave a reaction in the comment section below. If you have any questions, I will answer them. Namaste.